All right, 922 yards, up 5.6, left 0.2, full size IPSC. Impact. 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 Off the left edge. Impact. And that's it. If you're interested in high dollar white phos PVS 27 clip-on night vision and what I can do with it after dark in perfect conditions, and stick around because that's exactly what we're going to do in this video. I've got my Barrett MRAD 300 PRC. I've got a super nice PVS 27 from the guys at See the Night. And what we're going to do in this video is take a close-up look at how this unit performs. I'm going to take you down to the 100-yard line, give you a look at 100-yard groups after dark, and then we're going to stretch out and make impacts on steel. I can promise you much further than 920 yards right here. So if you like the sounds of it, join me in this video. So how far can you make consistent impacts after dark? Well, if you're curious, stick around because that's exactly what we're going to find out in this video. Now, if you're like me and you're into precision rifle shooting, you know the feeling of making that impact at 500 yards and now you want to go to 8. You hit at 8, now you want to go to 1,000. You're constantly chasing that personal record out there. And I think that's the addiction that keeps us all coming back. So recently, I've gotten into long-range shooting after dark. Kind of a new challenge, but in many ways, it's almost easier than daytime precision rifle shooting for a couple of reasons. You think about when the sun sets, typically wind dies down. So it's absolutely ripping out here right now, but after the sun goes down, I promise you it's going to become much calmer and much more consistent. Also after dark, things like mirage are much less. So you think about shooting long range in the daytime, especially high humidity, that target looks like it's just floating in water out there. It's really frustrating and it's hard to get consistent impacts downrange. You can even see it at the 100-yard line when you try to zero. Also after dark, you can use tools like IR illuminators to put lights downrange or infrared light downrange so that you can spot trace easier. It's unreal what an illuminator can do to your ability to spot your own trace. You can also use IR illumination, maybe on an offset rifle or spotter, to put different shadows on the target downrange and enhance your ability to find targets and engage them after dark. So if you want to learn more about shooting after dark and what's possible, then stick around in this video because it's going to be a blast. So like anything, you're kind of at the mercy of your equipment. The nicer your equipment, the more capable your equipment, the more capable you're going to be in that application. So I tell you what, in this video, huge shout out to the boys over at See the Night Night Vision for hooking me up with this PVS 27. This is an absolute top of the line unit. So you think about clip-on night vision, it's going to go in front of your day optic and give you night vision capabilities. It just attaches to the Picatinny rail here, and boom, your day optic is now night vision capable. Your zero, there's going to be a little bit of a shift, but nothing crazy. You correct that, and now you've got all the features of your day optic after dark. You've got the same reticle, you've got the same controls. You don't have to swap out optics and carry a second one. It's really a slick setup. So See the Night, they said, hey, we've got a ton of these super nice PVS 27 clip-ons. We want to see what you can do with one after dark. How far can you make impacts? And I said, you know, that is right up my alley. I would love to do that. So they sent out a demo unit that we're going to run here, and we're going to push it out and see what's possible. You've already seen me in the intro make impacts there a little over 900 yards. Really no problem, really beautiful image. We're going to push out beyond that, see what's possible. So with that, what are we going to run for gear in this video? So the setup here is one that's very proven. You've seen it many times on the channel. This is going to be my Barrett MRAD in 300 PRC. So I've used this rifle in previous content to make impacts at a mile, 2,000 yards. I shot it in the Night Force ELR match last summer. This is a very capable rifle. We're going to be shooting hand loads using the 230 SMK bullet from Sierra. I dropped those in the case and found them very easy to load, and they just shot right out of the gate. So I loaded them to mag length, got the velocity where I wanted it there in the high 2,800 feet per second range. They shot beautifully. So what we're going to be pushing out to distance is going to be the Sierra 230 SMK, and shout out to Sierra for their support of my channel. If you're looking for long range capable bullets that are easy to load, the SMK is pretty hard to beat. So other components on this rifle,
Up front, we're going to be running the Barrett Mark 22 suppressor. I feel like a suppressor is a must after dark. Kill that flash has several benefits. Number one being, if you put a flash of light in front of a night vision device, it's going to white it out for a split second. And if you're trying to spot impacts downrange and your image is whited out, now you don't see it. So the can is going to mitigate what that looks like. So that's a must. This unit's actually .338 caliber. It's going to tame the 300 PRC very, very well. And then I've got the MDT single pole SkyPod mounted on the Area 419 ARCA M-Lock rail here for the MRAD. This is specific to the unit. Very, very nice upgrade for the MRAD. So if you're looking to kind of take that MRAD to the next level, this Area 419 ARCA rail is the ticket. Optics up top. Day optic is going to be my Element phos 6 to 36 mil base scope with a very nice Christmas tree reticle in it. This is the same scope I shot in the Night Force ELR match. I really, really love this scope. It's got clear glass, magnification range is solid, and the size is actually a little bit smaller than some of the other similar magnification scopes on the market so that you can still fit things like clip-on in front of it. 34mm tube is going to be mounted in my Griffin Armament single piece mount. The nice piece about this mount is I can run a diving board that secures with pins on top so it won't move. And then for ranging, I'll be using my Tango Enos Fire 4000 weapon mounted laser rangefinder. There's no IR capabilities in this unit. It's purely going to be for ranging and ballistic calculation for putting rounds downrange. So if you're interested in learning more about the gear that I'm using, check out my campsite bio here or here, and that'll get you over to all of my partner companies where you can learn more about the gear that I'm running. Now, in many cases, say for See the Night example, I have codes, and my code MULLETS will save you $100 if you find yourself interested in picking up a very nice PVS 27 from See the Night. There's a ton of other companies that I use that same code of MULLETS with, where you can save money, and in some cases it'll give me a little bit of a kickback that I use to help grow the channel. And then finally, if you like this video, do me a solid and subscribe. I'm on a mission to get to 100,000 subscribers, and I need your help to do it. If you enjoy the video, you're watching and you're not subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button so that I see you're in line for my next video drop. I've got a ton of epic new content coming, and I want you to be there to watch it. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. All those things are going to help me grow this channel and build an awesome GunTube channel here for you. So with that, let's move into the night vision content. Once the sun sets, we're going to push out, start at about 1,000 yards and see what I can do on a full-size IPSC. And then we'll finish up back here where I'll review my thoughts.
So we have just about perfect shooting conditions tonight. On the night after the full moon, so there's a ton of ambient light out, I can actually see my shadow on the ground. And the wind is almost dead calm. So with that, why don't we get crazy with it? So I'm back here in the ballpark of 1,000 yards. I just ran down to the 100-yard line after installing the PVS 27 and shot a 5-round group just to see what my point of impact did. So after installing the PVS 27, I noticed that my point of impact shifted up and left from where I was zeroed on the orange dot during the day. So to correct that, I came down 0.4 and right 0.3. So now I should be zeroed up for the PVS 27. I also updated the Fire 4000 weapon mounted laser rangefinder with the current environmentals, and I'm going to use that for my data. So what I can do is point at the target and range it. You can see the IR there. So that's 1,009 yards. I verified that on the Raptor at 1,005, 1,006. It's calling for 6.5 mils up. I did update the wind. It's almost dead calm, so I put in like a 3 mile an hour, 12 o'clock. So it's calling for 0.2 left, which would be something like spin drift. So let's just go ahead and hold it here. 0.2 left. And I'm going to favor, I'm just going to hold that 6.5 left edge of plate. Impact right there. 1,000 yards after dark. That's a full-size IPSC. It looked like that just went over the head. I'm going to come down to like 6 mil, 6.2. Impact. Let's do the same, 6.2. like that went over. Let's come down to 6. Impact. There you have it, 1,000 yards after dark. And I tell you what, able to spot those impacts. Now I'm using the Hornady hit indicator lights on the target, so that's what's flashing. Without that, it'd be really hard to shoot after dark by yourself. But I thought we'd try to push a little bit further. I mean, that's a full-size IPSC at 1,009 yards, a little over 1,000 yards. Okay, we're back. So the Fire 4000 wasn't hitting the target. You could see the IR out there, but I wasn't getting a return. So I used the Raptor, and I measured it at 1,247 yards. So I plugged that into the AB Boss app, which the Fire 4000 is using, and it's calling for 9 mils of elevation. So I'm going to try to dial that on. And actually, right now, I can see decently well to dial on my correction. I'm going to, not very tactically savvy here, but just to confirm, I want to hit that with some white light. I need to come up another 10th. There's my 9 mils. And I think we'll just favor left edge like we were doing. Oh man. So there's our target. Let's see if we can zoom in a bit. Maybe try to focus it. That's about as good as I've got right there. Here we go, 9 mils. Let's just go left edge. First round impact. 1,250 yards. Okay, that went just over the head. I'm going to come down 3/10. Actually 4. Okay, just off that right edge. No call on that one. Pack. 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 So I tell you what, that is cool. Let's try a couple more. Looks like just dead on. Pack. Looks like that was over the head. Impact. Again, we wouldn't be able to do this without that Hornady hit indicator light. I tell you what, I've got some rounds left. Let's try to push a little bit further. Call me crazy, but how about we try one more firing position? Now this one, I couldn't even get the Raptor to range it. It gave me one return at 1,522 yards. When I plug that into the AB Boss app, it comes up with something like 12.3 mils up and left 0.5. So from what I can tell, we should be at about 1,500. Guys, I tell you what, at this point, I don't really have that clear of an image. So I don't have a ton of confidence around being able to actually connect. So even if I get up here on the PVS 27 and try to focus it, the target is up there just to the upper right of my center crosshair. I might send 1 or 2 rounds just to see if we just happen to connect. So I've already dialed on that 12.3. I had to use a light to do that. I'm going to start left 0.5. Okay, I saw splash. It looked high. Come down 3/10. So we're in the ballpark. And I'm going to come left another couple tenths. I believe I saw dust after the shot on the right hand side. Go left 0.8. Okay, so I can see splash. I just can't tell where. One more round. I'm going to cheat low, 1 mil left. Yeah, I got nothing on that one. Well, I'll tell you what. We put some rounds out there at 1,500 yards, but I just don't have the visibility to be able to correct and make those impacts.
Well, there you have it. Consistent hits on a full-size IPSC at 1,250 yards after dark. You gotta let me know in the comments down below. Were you expecting me to be able to connect at that kind of distance consistently? Did you expect me to be able to push out further? Now remember, I was not even using an illuminator. That's just straight up PVS 27, full moon night, which is prime conditions, but still consistently making impacts at 1,250. That is wild to me. That's a new personal record. I had a ton of fun making this video. And I'd love to hear your thoughts and chat with you down below. Now really quick, let's just talk about my experience running this PVS 27 from sea to night. So anytime you put something in front of your scope, like a clip-on, there's likely to be a little bit of a point of impact shift. And we saw that out here tonight with this unit. So during the daytime, I actually zeroed the rifle up there at the 100-yard line, perfectly in the orange dot. So yep, I was zeroed. I then pushed out in the daytime and confirmed up my data at about 1,300 yards. So I wanted to make sure that when it got dark out, the data coming out of the Tango NOS Fire 4000 was directionally correct. And it was. So before the sunset, I had a good 0 to 100, and I had data out to about 1,300 that I felt confident in. Once the sunset, you saw in the intro, we put a couple of rounds on that full-size exit there at about 920 or 940 yards. Really had no problems connecting. Could see that target really, really well. Could see that miss. Unfortunately, I did miss there once, but could see the splash, make my corrections, beautiful image. Then we pushed out, and the first kind of course of fire here in the video was a full-size IPSC at 1,009 yards. Ranged that with the Tango NOS Fire 4000, and we had a number of impacts. I think we went 3 for 5 out there. Again, really could see my impacts on the plate, no problem. Now it's worth noting, when I'm shooting that plate, the little light that's flashing, that's the Hornady hit indicator. If you're gonna shoot after dark, in my opinion, long range, you have got to have an indicator light. It's an absolute must. Without that indicator light, it's kind of hard to see if you hit the plate. The only way you would know to hit the plate without the light is if you hear it or if you see no splash downrange. So if typically you would see your splash and you don't see that, you're probably on the plate. And occasionally you can see that plate move a little bit. We actually saw that there in the intro once the light fell off. So 3 for 5 at 1,009 yards. I'm feeling pretty good about that. You know, that let's push out further. And we did, 1,250. And at 1,250 yards, I noticed the performance dropped off a little bit. So at that point, we're getting on out there. So 1,250 yards is 3/4 of a mile, by the way. We put first round out there, actually made an impact, which I was surprised by. So first round impact at 1,250, and then we followed it up with a handful of misses. And in those misses, I was able to see my splash decently well and make corrections. Finally there toward the end of the string of fire, I got things dialed in and had consistent impacts on the full-size IPSC at 1,250 yards. So what we saw was my ability to put rounds on the target, but definitely my ability was degraded a bit, say from the 1,000-yard line. Then I'm feeling pretty good. I said, man, I really want to push the distance on this unit. We moved out to about 1,520 yards. And it's worth noting, at 1,250, I saw the Tango NOS Fire 4000 have a little bit of trouble with the range. I actually had to swap over and use the Wilcox Raptor to get a good distance there. At 1,520, neither unit would actually range the target. So I thought that was kind of interesting. The Fire 4000, it didn't get anything out there at 1,520, and the Raptor also didn't pick up the target at 1,520. So once you get out to that kind of distance at dark, kind of the odds are against you there. So rangefinders were having a little bit of trouble. I did get one measurement out of the Raptor of 1,520, which is how I knew roughly where I was at, that I used for my ballistic calculation. And at that distance, I could see the target in the scope. I could see kind of a white blob. It wasn't that clear to me. I definitely was kind of beyond what I would say the useful range of this was. But I put a couple of rounds out there. I knew everything was safe. Where I'm shooting, it's a mountain. Nobody could come in that way. So I put a handful of rounds down there. I could see my splash around the plate, but at 1,520, it was a dust cloud. It was hard for me to pinpoint in the dust cloud where my splash actually landed to make those corrections. So I put a handful of rounds out there, realized I wasn't getting usable data to get on the plate. So at that point, it really wasn't worth the time and expense to continue sending rounds to kind of get lucky at that point. So I would say, after shooting in this video, a super nice unit like this white phos from See the Night, full moon night, no illuminator, I would say pretty consistent out to 1250. I mean, I would go out and do it again. So you think about full moons, they come along once a month. If you're gonna try to shoot long range, do yourself a solid, full moon, 1250 yards. Now let me know what you thought about that performance compared to my green phos unit. So I do have a green phos that I bought a couple of years ago. Now it comes in at a much lower price point than this unit does. It's about $4,500 or $5,000 is what I paid. Now while that's lower than this unit, that's still very expensive, I get that. That unit being green phos is just not easy to look at. So things that I noticed out here running this white phos unit, it is next level. White phos is so much easier for you to look at with your eye. So much easier to focus on that target, spot the splash, make the correction. It's hard to put into words what the experience with white phos is compared to green. Maybe I'll do a video on that experience. Let me know in the comments if that's something you want to see. Because I could run the green unit and the white unit side by side, get the trigger cam going, and give you a look at what that footage is. So that's the number one thing I noticed. White phos, so much easier to shoot out there. The tube in this unit, very clear. And I believe that's why I was able to shoot the kind of distances I was in this video without an illuminator. Let me know if you want to see me maybe push this unit out with an illuminator sometime. How far could I shoot after dark with an illuminator? Would that have made it easier? That wrap tower I have is full power, so I could kind of narrow that beam down, put some light on the target, and possibly make impacts out there further than we did tonight. Let me know if that's something you want to see. But ultimately, this video is a little bit different than what I'm normally doing. Just a ton of fun. This unit just landed here recently. It's super nice, and I wanted to see what it was capable of and share that experience with you. So if you've made it this far, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the experience. Let me know what else you want me to do with this night vision. This thing's awesome. I love shooting it. We're getting into some warmer weather, so it's a little bit easier to get out and shoot after dark. It's not so cold, so I'd love to do what my viewers want to see. And with that, if you're still watching, make sure you do me a solid. Help me grow this channel. Subscribe, share with your friends, comment down below, and make sure you're in line for my next video drop. Thanks for watching.